Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to Lost. My name is Kirioth and today we are going to talk a little bit about Peter Molyneux and Godus. So, after a colossal amount of backlash against Godus and Peter Molyneux, the man himself has released a video, which is in the description, giving an explanation, kind of, as to why the game has collapsed so badly, telling us why it's taken 2 years for the PC version to still be behind the mobile version, to explain that some of the pledges for the Kickstarter should have been met, and that they should have taken the time to work on them. Who'd have thought? The problem with this video is that it is essentially 17 minutes of mutual masturbation between Peter Molyneux and Jack Attridge, who is reading out the questions the community has and then largely ignoring them. The fact is that they spend the entire time repeating the mantra that Godus didn't go well, but it's still being worked on, and oh yes, well I think we addressed that point rather well, don't you, Peter? Oh yes, Jack, we have assuaged the concerns of the community with that statement, oh yes. The only person who wants anything to do with Godus anymore is Conrad, and funnily enough, he's the only one with any sense of how absurd and self-obsessed the video is. They spin the fact that Godus is down to a skeleton crew, led by a guy who had to essentially beg and demand that he be allowed to rescue the game from the development hell that it's stuck in. They spin the fact that Molyneux himself has abandoned the project to work on something crazy and new, which will no doubt be yet another overhyped failure, and Molyneux endlessly repeats the mantra that he does make mistakes. People make mistakes. He doesn't like making mistakes, but he does make mistakes, and he's never done a Kickstarter before, and Kickstarter's so different to things he's done before, and it's Kickstarter that made the whole thing collapse, and the game is going to be finished, even though it'll take months and months and months, apparently, to add in the pathetically small number of features that they've said they'll work on. Peter Molyneux may be a big name in this industry, but at this point he's nothing more than a snake oil salesman, selling big ideas with his big name that amount to absolutely nothing when the money changes hands. Hell, just his attitude to the pledges on Kickstarter are a massive alarm bell. Some of them should have been met. They should have taken the time to work on them. Well, no shit, Peter. Yeah, you probably should take time to work on the pledges on your Kickstarter, especially since they are the basis on which your game was funded. That is the way that Kickstarter works. You give pledges, you give rewards, people pledge at tiers related to those pledges and rewards, and you give them the pledges and the rewards. I'm glad Peter Molyneux has realised that they should have taken the time to work on the pledges on their Kickstarter for Godus, especially since not meeting those pledges puts him in, well, a small amount of conflict with Kickstarter's own terms and conditions, which in fact suggests that people ask for refunds if they don't receive their pledges. Although in fairness, Molyneux does graciously admit that he let down PC backers by focusing on the mobile version of the game. And he says that he did things badly and incorrectly. It's not all bad though. Molyneux says that story will be added, which will be quite the undertaking, especially since the team for Godus seems to be made up of roughly 2 people, only one of whom really wants to be there. There's still no mention of multiplayer, there's no mention of a persistent hub world, and there's absolutely no mention of how this affects the poor bastard who won, and I use that term loosely, curiosity. The worst part of all this is that Molyneux gives you his excuses, gives you his frankly poor explanations as to why he failed so utterly to deliver what people wanted and what people funded, and still has the audacity to talk with enthusiasm about his next project, apparently ignoring the fact that he is addressing the community of the previous project, which he is now ignoring, and which he has mismanaged and managed to underdevelop for the best part of 2 fucking years. You should trust absolutely nothing this man says. He may not be a liar in what he hopes to achieve, but he is incompetent enough to ensure that his hopes don't become reality. And you know who pays for that reality? You do. You buy his dream, and what you get in return is broken promises, half-finished products, and endless excuses and requests for forgiveness. Molyneux no longer makes games, he makes reasons as to why his vision didn't work, and you can bet money that whatever his new project The Trail turns out to be, you will get the same experience as you did with Godus. And I think we can agree that Godus has not been a positive experience. Thanks for watching.